Welcome to Lesson 4 of Humanities 1101 at West Georgia Technical College. In this lesson, we will be discussing ancient Greece. So much of the modern world is influenced by the ancient Greeks. This is most evident in philosophy, literature, theater, and architecture. We will be discussing each of these areas in this video in preparation for the readings, videos, and virtual observations you will be completing this week. No study of ancient Greece would be complete without a look at philosophy. There were three primary philosophers in ancient Greece: Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle. We have writings from Plato and Aristotle, but what we know about Socrates largely comes from the writings of Plato, who used a dialogue-type writing to preserve Socrates' teachings, or possibly simply to lend authority and intrigue to his own work. Socrates taught using thought-provoking questions and challenges. This is the inspiration for the way I've built the discussion board in this course. You'll really see this in the allegory of the cave. Socratic learning is the idea that we learn best and most deeply by asking questions which promote critical thinking, and by having challenging conversations, and by answering the questions of others. In the allegory of the cave, Socrates is having a discussion with Plato's older brother, Glaucon. He compares those who don't have an education to the prisoners who are in the cave. These prisoners have never had light shed on themselves or on reality. Everything they know is in the shadow world. But if just one prisoner broke free and was enlightened, and he came back to visit the other prisoners, he likely wouldn't be believed by the others as he told them about the world outside the cave. They wouldn't believe that there was a better reality in the light. I personally find this interesting because Socrates was executed for corrupting the youth of Athens, which really could be likened to his attempt, or Plato's, to bring the readers of the allegory of the cave into a light of a higher reality. As we also saw in Lesson 1, modern education stems from Greek philosophy and from the idea that with education comes virtue, and not just any education, but a well-rounded education. Theater and literature is another area of importance. Without Greek theater and literature, the books, plays, musicals, even television as we know it today might not exist. However, Greek theater and literature commonly attempted to teach a deeper lesson and was not for entertainment only. In the story of Oedipus Rex, or Oedipus the King, Oedipus is born to royal parents, the rulers of Thebes, but a prophecy by the oracle of Delphi overshadows his birth. It is said that he will kill his father and marry his mother. Desperate to keep the prophecy from being fulfilled, the king sends his son away to be killed, but rather than killing him, he was simply left to die of exposure. A shepherd finds the infant, and he is then raised in the household of the Corinthian king, not knowing his true origins. He himself visits the oracle at Delphi, who tells him of the prophecy, and in a desperate attempt not to fulfill the prophecy, he leaves Corinth and vows never to return. As he travels back to Thebes, he gets into a quarrel with a man in the road and kills him. Meanwhile, a sphinx has blocked the road and kill all who cannot answer its riddle, bringing to mind more than a few modern stories about trolls and riddles. Oedipus defeats the sphinx by solving the riddle, and the beast kills herself. Continuing to Thebes, he is honored for his wit and courage, and is given the right to marry the recently widowed Queen of Thebes, with whom he has multiple children. The video in the course picks up when the shepherd who found the infant makes his way to the court and reveals that Oedipus is the son of Jocasta, his wife. And as the horrible truth comes to light, Jocasta kills herself in despair, and Oedipus, disgusted, blinds himself and goes into exile. This story is all about fate versus free will. Can one escape their fate, or are they free to choose it? It brings to mind modern pieces of entertainment like Final Destination, and this is a conversation that is still relevant today. We see many elements of Greek literature and mythology in our modern life. Even the name Atlanta comes from Atlantic, as in the railroad, but the word Atlantic first appears in ancient Greek literature in reference to Atlas, the Titan who holds the world on his shoulders. Finally, as we discuss Greek architecture is absolutely everywhere. There are three primary orders of Greek architecture: the Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian styles, which are associated with particular periods in Greek history. I was recently visiting an old home in Nashville that is now a small hotel, and as I was waiting for breakfast, I looked around and I saw Greek columns on the fireplaces. Later that same day, visiting the home of Andrew Jackson, I noticed that the entire facade looked like a Greek temple. You'll see elements of Greek architecture all around you. For instance, the combination of the Doric and Corinthian styles located on the Fulton County Courthouse. See here, the Doric, and here, the Corinthian. The DeKalb County Courthouse features these Corinthian columns. The historic Swan House in Atlanta features the much simpler Ionic columns. As you explore in the virtual observations, be sure to watch for these particular object sets of Greek architecture. They are especially evident in Ephesus, which is now in modern Turkey, the ancient Greek city which became a Roman city, which housed the Temple of Artemis, which was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Ephesus also houses a spectacular amphitheater with such precise construction that one can speak in a normal voice standing here in the center of the stage and be heard on the top row just by speaking in a normal voice. Now, in fairness, this area of the theater was expanded during the Roman period, even though the amphitheater itself was begun during the Greek period. In the ancient city of Ephesus, there was also an incredible library. This is probably something like what it probably looked like. And it featured both Greek Ionic and Corinthian styles, even though it was constructed during the Roman era, sometime between the years 110 and 135 AD. Ancient Library of Ephesus actually rivals the largest and most famous libraries today. Just compare this image of the library at Celsus to this image right here of the New York Public Library, which also features Corinthian columns, but was built in 1895. Ancient Greek thought, culture, and artistic influence is all around us today, and it's still influencing everything from popular entertainment to architecture, and even how you learn in this course. Keep all of these things in mind this week as you walk through each element of the course and as you enter the discussion.